Hello, Facebook fans, YouTube fans of DX Engineering. We're live again Tuesday. It is time for DX Engineering Tuesdays. And this is a show where on Tuesday we feature DX Engineering employees you may have talked to on the phone, maybe via email, maybe via our text engine. But one of the most recognizable faces of DX Engineering is Rod, K8RR, who's on today with us from his home in Southern Ohio. Rod, great to have you back.
Thanks, Tim. Good to be with you.
And Rod, we're just a few weeks away from Bouvet. 3 Yankee 0 Kilo coming on the air. It's going to be one of the best DXpeditions of all time. I mean, an incredible amount of preparation, an incredible team, an incredible amount of money that they're spending. And those of us who are not going on the DXpedition, we're here in our shacks. We want to raise the opportunity to work the DXpedition. And so we want to make sure we have all our antennas. And you and I have talked about antennas and feed line and having a good radio, reliable radio. But one of the ingredients that's going to be really important, because it's going to be competitive, is an amplifier. That raises, if you're going from 100 watts to 1,500 watts, which is our legal limit, 1,500 watts, it's almost 12 dB. That's a lot of signal gain.
That's a lot more power.
A lot more power. But there are right ways and wrong ways to do power. Let's talk about some of the research that you've done here in the past few years, especially when it comes to FT8, on how much power various antennas like the end-fed half wave, like the verticals, how much power balance, how much, derating. Talk about FT8 versus CW and SSB.
Sure. I mean, of course, one of the main things that you have to have when you're going to upgrade to using a power amplifier is a really good antenna. A makeshift, a get-by antenna just isn't going to handle it. And so make sure you have a really good dipole or Yagi or what have you with a really good balun feed line that's up to the task. But the thing is, with FT8, which is a single sideband full modulation mode, it's not much different than AM or RTTY from back in the day. And those guys back then, they knew that you could not run all out on those modes. You had to throttle back in order to protect the finals in the radio, in order to protect the amplifier circuit, the relays, the antenna components, nowadays the baluns, and so what we've found is that for the 1,500 watt legal limit, single sideband is a PEP rating, that's peak envelope power. That equates to running no more than 25% of that, or 375 watts on FT8 or AM or RTTY. It's very important that you don't exceed the capabilities of the equipment. And FT8 is a very harsh mode on equipment. It's unrelenting. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. It's constantly running and heating components up. And so you have to have really good components, really good connections, and just don't try to run FT8 at full power. It just is going to invite trouble.
Yeah, and Rod, it's really important because you talk about the components that are in the system, and you have to think about that. What is the weakest part, or what is the power limiting component of the system? And I want to go back. Very popular antenna, and it is a game changer for guys, is the end-fed half wave, but it has a 49-to-1 transformer, and it relies on the coax shield coming back to the radio for the other half of the antenna. And so We've had customers that have said, geez, I'm getting RF burns. You know, when they run more than like 30 or 40 watts, they're getting RF burns. Or, geez, when I'm on FT8 in the first couple of transmissions, the SWR looks okay, but then it starts to drift.
That's right.
Those are indications, right?
Yeah, really, really important to keep an eye on the SWR on your system, so that especially when you're using a digital mode like FT8 or a constant carrier mode like AM or RTTY, that you can tell that everything is okay. And if you see the SWR starting to rise, that means that some component, possibly a ferrite in a balun, is starting to heat up, and its electrical characteristics are changing. That's changing the tuning of the system. And so that's when you have to stop transmitting. You cannot keep transmitting with SWR climbing. And it's typically the weakest link, as you said, that goes bad. So the makeshift antennas with a 49-to-1 balun, the unfed half waves, or some other not balanced antenna, unbalanced antennas that don't have feed line chokes or on-ends, things that are trying to use a counterpoise or the feed line shield as part of the antenna, are pretty much a no-go if you're going to try to use full power with an amplifier on a digital mode. You could get away with it sometimes on sideband or CW. It depends on the circumstances. But every little piece in the system is going to be stressed to the maximum, even running 375 watts on FT8. You're talking about SO239s and PL259s that may not be tight. It could be the connection of the wires on the antenna to the balun or the unun. There are a number of different points, and also the relays in the system, whether it's antenna relays or a relay in the amplifier. All the different components along the line are pushed to the brink, and sometimes just simply fail.
And you know, you bring up a really good point that I want to focus on just for a few minutes, Rod, and that is the PL259s. Really, on the PL259s, the male UHF connector that most every amateur radio station is using. And you know, there are lots and lots of bad PL259s out there. They're the dollar specials at the Hamfest, and you say, "Geez, I'm going to load up on these because they're $1 a piece. Why should I go to DX Engineering and or to somebody else? Hopefully, you're coming to DX Engineering, but where DX Engineering, we have our brand of connectors, and you know, it's not $1." And it's for good reason, because
for good reason, right?
There are tolerances.
There are specific dimensions, and the dielectrics are very specifically made. And some of the plastics that have been thrown into connectors that are really cheap are just not up to the task.
And when you're doing something like FT8 and you're running even 100 watts, 200 watts, 300 watts, I mean, why would you spend all the money on radios, antennas, amplifiers, and then spend $1 on a PL259 and expect it to work like a high quality connector that you can get from DX Engineering, our brand, or the Amphenol brand? You can't go wrong. You're not going to have trouble with it as long as you install the connectors properly. Now, we make it easy, right, Rod? You can build your own cable, or we have the connectors already assembled on the cables.
We have a whole lineup of cable assemblies, and with the PL259s, SO239s, and connectors, a lot of different arrangements. But the thing is that some people will say, well, you can't use a crimp connector. That's not true. There are crimp connectors that are very good if they're installed correctly. One of our commenters says, look for Teflon. And another name for that, which we use, is PTFE. I'm not going to try to say the chemical formula. It's just Papa Tango Fox Echo. PTFE is the name of the chemical, the dielectric insulation in the connector that's also known as Teflon.
Right, and that is the stuff you want. Let's go to the chat room real quick. Lou is on from West Virginia, Kilo Tango 1 radio. We also have down in Mexico, X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu Zulu. K8 Kilo Alpha Zulu says hello. And let's see here. We got 11 meters. We don't have a call sign there. Don is on in the doctor's office. Whiskey Juliet 3 United. And our good friend Rob in the Mobile. Mike 0 Kilo Papa Delta. He's driving home in the UK. And Tom, November 4 Hotel Alpha India Portable 8. He says, I generally run FT8 at 50 watts into the beam or into my 6BTV vertical. With that said, I will turn on a 500 watt amp on CW to get the DX station. I'll never push a lot of power into the end-fed half wave. We've also looked for the Teflon and silver connectors. That's what we have at DX Engineering brand, and also Amphenol connectors here. Tom says, I'm not a paid advertiser, but the DX Engineering LMR 400 crimp-on PL259s rock. There's a reason why they're patented. They are the best. I won't use anything else. Pay $4,000 for a radio and cheap out on PL259s. It doesn't make any sense. I look for PL259s that have porcelain isolation instead of plastic. Couldn't find any. Well, guess what? PTFE or Teflon, which is in the DX Engineering connectors and also in Amphenol, that's all you need. Don't worry about porcelain. Brady, W3 Bravo Radio Lima. I personally don't own an amplifier, but I've used them with the club. Lots of great safety tips. And Rod, we haven't even gotten into the AC power concerns. In Louisiana, it's Kilo India 5 Uniform Tango Sierra. Our favorite jet buddy pilot, W7JET, is on. Rich is just getting up in Australia. Victor Kilo 2 India Zulu. And Don says, I bought some PL259s that I thought were good quality. They wouldn't even screw on to the SO239. Don, you need to come to DX Engineering. We've got the right connectors for you. 9 Hotel 1 X-Ray Echo. Edwin is on from Malta. And also, is this a pre-recorded video? No, this is live.
We're actually
TV.
Live at Plasma Zombie.
Live.
Good to hear from you.
And Rod, we want to make sure that guys need to, just one other little subtopic, we could go on, is the 240 volts versus 120 volts when you have your amplifier, Rod.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there are some amplifiers that are capable of being run on 120 AC, which is the standard house current. But the vast majority of amplifiers that amateurs use and buy are actually designed to be run on 240 AC. and it's a matter of efficiency. It's a matter of design parameters, and you don't need as big a wire for the 240 circuit. You don't need as many amperes because, and that's why you don't need as big a wire. The thing to do if you're planning to get an amplifier is, first, number one, do you need it? Do you really need it? Do you have the antenna that can handle it? And then go ahead and pay an electrician to put in a 240 line, and you won't be sorry. That's the way to go when you're going to get an amplifier.
Absolutely. You want to be safe. We hear stories from, people that have had bad situations, unsafe situations when they've tried to do it themselves. When you're working with an amplifier, please be safe. That is the best advice we can leave you with.
I will also add that a lot of the amplifiers come from overseas. They come set up for 220 or 230 because that's all that's used in most countries where the amplifiers are made, in Europe and so on. And so getting them to convert over to 120 is a task. It's an issue. Sometimes it's not really a good thing to do. So
right. Great advice, Rod. We're going to have more discussions about amplifiers, connectors, 49-to-1 transformers, balance, etc. coming up soon. It's always great to have you on, Rod. Thank you for everything you do to take care of our customers.
Thanks, Tim. Great to be here.
All right. Hope you enjoyed it. Get on a work desecheo. The Kilo Papa 5 slant November Papa 3 Victor India is on the bands making QSOs. It is a relatively rare country, and it's a great way to get ready for Bouvet coming up in just a few short weeks. Thanks to all of you for watching today. Hope you had fun. Hope you learned something. Stay safe, stay warm, and until next time, 73 from DX Engineering.